Hey guys, welcome back to Game Borders. Today we're going to be reviewing Dice Forge. This is a game where you go around the board rolling dice and collecting things, upgrading your dice to get better resources to eventually earn victory points and win the game. So we'll get down to the board or down to the table, check it out, see how it plays. We'll come back here for our final thoughts on what we liked, disliked about it, and yeah, our overall rating of the game. So
sounds good.
Okay, so now that we already have this pre-set up, I'm going to go over how to set this game up and how it plays out. So this is what the game is going to look like all set up. You're going to have the box, which I actually think this is pretty cool. The bottom piece of the box here is actually part of the board. You put it right next to the board. This is where you go to buy certain things, and these are the values of the things that you can buy here. As you can see, they take a certain amount of coin to buy, and that means you can buy any one of these dice face to upgrade your dice. And I'll talk about that in just a little bit here. So the first player, which I'm going to be the first player in this scenario, and I am this color. Also, before I get going, I want to mention this is the first player token. You're going to put this on the player that is first. So that means that'll indicate that he is always he's always the first player of each round as this game plays out, and it will play out over the course of 9 or 10 rounds depending on how many players you have. If you have 3 players, you're going to go 10 rounds. If you have 4 players, you're going to go 2 or 4 players, you're going to go only 9 rounds. And these are kind of the meeple that you each get. They're going to be 4 different colors. And you're going to have this smaller piece tracker. That's going to indicate what round you're on this table. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So since it's the first round, I'm going to set it on round number 1. I am going to take my dice here. These are kind of the standard dice of what they kind of look like. So one of them is going to have this +2. Let me see if I can get this right. So this one's going to have +2 on your victory, and it's also going to have 1 moon or blue crystal. The rest are just going to be 1 gold on every other side there. So that's one of the dice. The other dice is going to be 1 red crystal. The rest of this on this dice will be just a single coin here. So now that I have that, I will take my dice and I will roll them here. And I got a gold and I got a blue crystal. So I put that there, and I take my little marker trackers here, and they're marked by these tiny little blue kind of squares, translucent squares. And so I'm going to mark 1 on my gold and 1 for my blue crystal. So now that I've got this set up, if I had, say it goes around a couple times, I've got, let's say, 7 gold, 3 fire crystals, and 4 of these moon crystals. Now I have options here. During a player's turn, they're going to be able to do one of 2 things. They can either go to one of these portals and acquire one of these cards here, and the portals have a cost. Like this one is 1 fire crystal or red crystal. This one's 1 blue crystal. You got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same on this side with the blue, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one up here takes it takes 5 red and 5 blue crystals. So if you go here to this one, you're going to have to pay 5 of each to get this card, 6 fire to get this card, and 6 blue or moon crystals is what I call them to get this card. So that's pretty much one of the options that you can take during your turn. The other option is you can go here where these are, and let me move this, that's kind of how this will look, and you can purchase depending on the value there. So if I had the 7 gold, I could buy either 3 of these, I can buy 2 of these, or I can mix and match, doesn't really matter. But for me, I want to take this 6 gold for 4 gold here, and I'll put that here. And then I also want to, now I've got another 3 gold left, and I would indicate that here by marking this down on my tracker. And now that I have 4 gold left, I am actually going to take, actually I have 3 gold, excuse me. I'm actually going to take one of these fire crystals for the remainder of my 3. That'll put me at 0 gold, and I will get this face that has 1 additional fire crystal. So now that I've done that, I'll put that back. Now I will take my dice, and I can pick which dice I want to update the side on. And once you update it, you cannot go back and change it out. So there is some strategy here of where you want to place your updated tiles. So I'm going to pick this one, and you just take this little corner here, put it in there, and pop it up to get rid of that one. Then you just push this another face on like that. And same with this one. I'll just change something out this way. And now I've got these 2 sided dice here that I've updated. Let me turn them around so you can see them here. And with the lighting. Alrighty. Now with these extra ones, we just discard those for the remainder of the game. Now it is the next player's turn. And no matter who's going, everybody will always roll their 2 dice on everybody's turn. So even if player 2 is going, player 1 and 3 and 4 will all roll their dice at the exact same time. They just don't get to do the 2 actions, or either one of the actions. Another caveat I wanted to talk about, so you can do one of the 2 options, but there is an additional rule to that. If you burn 2 of your fire crystal or red crystals, you can burn that, and then you can take another one of these options. So it pretty much gives you 2 actions instead of 1 per turn. And another thing I wanted to mention here is on the setup, if you only have 3 players on these cards, so you're going to have these multiple cards that you can get. So, and they have different things, abilities that they'll do, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But if you have 3 players, you're only going to have 3 cards in each one of these slots. Same with 2. You only have 2 cards. 4, you're going to have 4 cards. So that's pretty much how your basic turn is going to go. You just keep going around, updating your dice, and building and using resources to gain these victory points here, which are indicated here under this this symbol right here on your player mat. It's going to kind of look like that, and that's pretty much what your goal is, to get those. So now let's get into what each of these cards do, or some of them. I'm not going to go over all of them. I'm going to go over some of them here. So some of them will give you straight victory points. So you get a little corner there. So over here in this corner, that's the victory point value of this card here. So if you acquire this card, you just get 12 victory points, and that's it. There are going to be some that allow you to get, like this one, will allow you to get a little bag that's going to be kind of look like that, has more resource slots, and you just attach that over to your player board here. So now I can hold more equipment, and you can always keep getting these and adding them until they are all gone. So if other players don't get them, you can just keep piling them up and keep adding them on there. This one right here, if you acquire this card, you can flip it over, and this has a little gold tracker here, and hopefully you can see that. But this would go here on your player board. It's getting marked there, and then you'll have this little token here. This is a small piece as well, so hopefully you can see that. That's going to go here, and as you get gold, you can move this tracker up this card or you can take it here. But you can't do both, but you can pick or choose. And as you complete this card, you get 10 victory points. If you complete it twice, you get 15. Once you complete it twice, it gets discarded. Then others will give you certain abilities to do during your turn. So this cog means that on your turn, after you roll, you can do this initial or an additional action. And then others will give you just a dice face upgrade. So this one will let you upgrade a dice face, and those will do different things. As you can see, there are a ton of different options here on what dice face you have. So all of these are different dice faces that you can acquire through cards, and they each have their own special ability and different things like that. So and then once we do the 10 rounds or 9 rounds, excuse me, in this 4-player game, once you hit this 9th round, no matter where you're at, the game is over, and you score up, you tally up your victory points. Whoever has the most wins. There is one additional rule I didn't want to go over, and that is if, say, Orange here decides to go and purchase something here, and now he's on there. If I want to go to this spot, I bump him off. He goes back to his home or his starting place, but he gets to, as kind of a reward for getting kicked off, he gets to re-roll 2 of his dice and add those to his resource pool. So that's pretty much how you play the game. So there's also tokens and different things that you can get that'll help you do different things. And then there's also these player boards. So this is kind of how a player board, I'm just going to show you one here. This is for green player, so you're going to have kind of a little symbol of what your player looks like, a spot to place your dice once you roll them, and then these are kind of all punched out, so your little cubes fit right in these little squares really nice, and that tracks your gold, red, blue, and victory points. The victory points are scored on the single, so this first row is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or it goes up to 9, and has a 0 up here to restart, and this counts in the tens. So you can, you're getting quite a bit of victory points throughout the game. So that's how it's played. So give it a try, you might enjoy it, and we'll go back to the table and we'll tell you what we thought of the game. Alrighty, so now that we've done we went to the table, kind of looked at the rules and how it plays out, let's talk about what we liked and what we disliked of GameForge, or DiceForge, not GameForge. Yeah. So alright, we'll put that there for now, put that in the shop. All right, Drayden, so let's do you first.
All right.
What are your pros and cons, and I guess your overall rating of it?
So I'll do the pros first. My pros, it's an easy strategy game. You don't have a lot of things to keep track of, just a couple of resources, and then your victory points, which are fairly easy.
Oh, yeah.
It's very straightforward. Not hard to learn. Cons, a lot of small pieces, so I'm thinking if you have kids, you probably don't want to let a bunch of little kids play this game.
A ton of choking hazards.
Don't make sure the owner isn't OCD, because that can be a very big thing later on.
Hello, that's me.
But overall, I give it a 7 out of 10. It's
7 out of 10. Okay.
Yeah, little children can play it, but not toddlers.
So I'm actually right along that same lines. I didn't mention the OCD thing. Well, actually,
I'm sure
I did.
Sure.
That's bad for me, and I have to deal with it. So
yeah, it's your burden to bear.
Exactly. That was the other thing that you stated. The small pieces. I didn't do that, but I agree with you on that. And then what was the other strategy?
Yeah,
I totally agree with you on that. I didn't put in my pros and cons. My pros, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Pros for me were the artwork. I love the colors in this game. They just pop. The art.
Well, that's weird because you can't hardly tell the difference between any of them.
I know. Okay, so don't pick on me because of my faults, man. But yeah, I just love the colors from the ones I can see.
No, the artwork it's beautiful in this game.
Yeah, it's awesome. The artwork's fantastic. It's just the way it's drawn up on the board. It looks great.
I do like the box incorporated into the
Yeah.
whole board and everything.
I thought that was awesome. The next thing that I did was game turns. So in this game, when you take a turn, everybody's taking that turn. So
Yeah.
there's like no downtime for
Not a
people
lot
that
of
aren't.
dead space.
Yeah, exactly. So someone that's taking their turn, even though they're the active player, everybody else is still doing
Yeah.
their own thing. They're still involved. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And then the second thing was flow and length of the game.
Yeah.
It's got this clock timer, so it's not going to drag on forever. You got,
Yeah.
and it feels like right as you ramp up and you start getting into it, the game ends. So
By
it
round
leaves
7, you're hitting your stride, and the game's pretty much over by that
yeah,
point.
it ends at round 9 or 10. So
Yeah.
it leaves you wanting more, which makes you want to play the game again, which I like that a lot.
Yeah, there's always that. I could have done better.
Yeah, and my cons, and I say this a lot on this game, those damn cards. They will not stay flat for anything. So I don't know, I just feel like they could have done a little thicker card, maybe a little cardboard or something like that, a thinner cardboard to make it so it
some
sits
thicker
flat and,
cardstock.
yeah, it fits better with the game board, because that is just a freaking nightmare dealing with that.
Yeah. you can get-
And the other thing I think was kind of segues off of what you said, setup time and cleanup time. Especially if you're OCD like me, it is a nightmare.
It's really not that bad unless everything has to be perfectly where it should go.
Yeah, what's going to help? Teamwork. That's that's good. That's just going to help.
Don't play with somebody like me, because I do not care.
Yeah. So those are the only 2 cons. I really like this game. I would give it my rating. I give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
I would definitely put this in my
In your
collection for sure. So, well, that's what I think. That's what he thinks.
Yeah.
And this is Dice Forge. So pick yourself up a copy, give it a try. You might like it.
Yeah.
This is Spencer Kelch,
I'm Drayden Coach.
and this is Game Borders. We out.